Hi everyone, Matt here and welcome to Simply Strength. I was recently browsing through my Facebook feed and saw a post on which a former friend had commented. I checked his profile and it turns out that he had unfriended me, and I believe I've spoken about this particular guy before. He was a friend that I had known from about the age of 4 to 25, so a very long time. And throughout our friendship, my mum and his had known each other very well, as our birthdays are a week apart, and they met each other in the same hospital ward. We went to the same primary and secondary schools together, we were in a band together, and still spent time with each other hanging out and so on until we were young men. My point is that even after all that history, all that water under the bridge, it's still possible to come to the realisation that they are not a true friend. They are more akin to a parasite that wants you when it suits them. It turned out that at the age of 24, he got his first proper girlfriend, I believe. He was living with his brother in an apartment at the time, and almost as soon as the relationship started, he broke off all contact with our group of friends. This group was one of many social groups that I was engaged with, so it's not like it was all of my connections at stake. But during this time, 2 other friends and I would meet up as we always did, go for meals, drinks, and otherwise catch up on aspects of our lives as you do. I'd known these 2 friends since starting secondary school, and I'd always had the impression that they were closer with each other than with me. And with hindsight, I've now been vindicated. It turns out that the first guy became a complete simp. In fact, the 3 of us went to a pub for drinks without him one time, because we just got used to him saying no. He rocked up with his brother and a few others, which was a surprise. Said hello, and then mid-conversation, his phone rang and he broke off without asking to answer it. It was very impolite, we felt at the time, and it was his girlfriend, and he was well and truly under the thumb. We ran out of time and left, passed him on the way out. He was still on the phone, and he didn't even acknowledge us as we passed him. Fast forward a year or so, and he had broken up with his girlfriend. And funnily enough, he had got back in touch with the other 2 and met with them. They invited me along to a meal. I stood by my principles, and I didn't go, saying that because he'd thrown me away like trash, I wouldn't engage with him until he called me. He's got my number. To apologise for his behaviour, and I think this is more than fair considering our history. The other 2 started making excuses, saying he was sorry and all this, and I didn't care because I wanted to hear it from him. He should have been a man and simply called me, and we would have been fine. I truly believe deep down that he feels exempt from wrongdoing, and if that is the value is placed on friendship, then I don't want him in my life anymore. As for the other 2, they drifted away to his corner. One of them, in fact, explicitly stated, "Girls before bros," a cardinal sin in my book, and a massive red flag to me. Around New Year just gone, I got a text message from this same guy asking if he will see me this year, to which I replied, "The ball is in your court." They feel, all 3 of them, as if they've done nothing wrong. I will never get an apology from them, and I'm glad that they are no longer in my life. They are a drain, fair weather friends, and maybe one day they will realise the value of the brotherhood we had, but I'm not banking on it. I mean, I used to train at the gym with these guys, confide in them things that I wouldn't tell anyone else, share my ambitions, goals and vocations with them, and it's all been for nothing. So, viewing this Facebook post made me recollect and reconsider the following point. Are your friends adding value to your life, or are they draining resources away for nothing in return? Once you leave school, under most circumstances, you can count on one hand the true friends you have that really add value and depth to your life. As in my opening example, all too many of your acquaintances will be happy to press the self-destruct button on their lives, but you can't help them all. This links in quite often to a predisposition for simpery or simpish behaviour. It may come down to a person's contentedness with being mediocre, with working a steady low-level job, and not even aspiring to climb the ladder or excel. For your own success, personal development and self-actualization, it's imperative that you surround yourself with high-quality friends with strong social cohesion. At present, I have probably 4 friends that I would call true friends. Most are in relationships, and I'm the only single one in the network, but nevertheless all of them make varying amounts of effort and time, depending on their circumstances, to hang out, talk about career and work, family, music, video games, life ambitions, and so on. Whereas the initial social group would no doubt get on my back about the whole women situation, my real friends have accepted my apathetic, indifferent attitude and nature towards women and relationships, recognising that I'm putting all of my time, energy and resources into a career. I respect that immensely, but I also know that they would tell me if they thought I wasn't doing anything quite right, knowing full well I would consider their input without getting aggressive or otherwise. I consider this to be a form of mutual respect, where all parties are contributing to the social group or the friendship dynamic, instead of simply draining from it like a parasite. I've known these individuals for 15, 8 and 6 years respectively, with the former being a very close friend since our early days at secondary school. Along the way, sadly, there have been many who have fallen, and I would consider these to be fake friends or acquaintances and nothing more. Scrolling through Facebook once again, at the same time as the first example, there was a post from a friend of a friend. I hope you can follow this. I mean, I am using the word friend a lot for reasons of privacy, but we only really knew each other through mutual contacts, and most of the conversations I've had with him were on Xbox Live. He was always very loud and brash, and had much to say. He would often go out with more peripheral pals, and I would generally stay out of it. I would say he was fairly tight with them, but that all ended when he got into a relationship. This will make some of you guys out there weep. He got with a girl who had a child with someone else. Big mistake in my opinion. Tom Leykis would rage. Then proceeded to have a kid of his own with her. That child is now about a year old. Anyhow, the topic of the Facebook post was that he was splitting up with his girlfriend, saying that it was for the best, and he seemed amiable enough. What was less clear to him, in my opinion, is that for all his talk and exuberance, he was oblivious as to just how ruined his life is, and I don't need to tell you the reasons why. There was another dude that I used to walk to the school bus with, back in the day. A very close friend during those years, who made a complete transformation from shy introvert to womanizing extroverted stag from the age of about 12 to 22. We only know each other now on a very peripheral level, and after going through countless women of varying degrees of attractiveness, he has become a surrogate father to a woman with a child by another man, and embraced simphood in a fashion that I would never have believed a few years ago. Is simphood even a word? It is now. So many simps, they should make a film called Simps on a Plane, and it would be scary as fuck. I've lost so many friends and acquaintances to this, that it prompted my brother to say last night that they were all dropping like flies. In my opinion though, it's less to do with becoming a husband, father and so on, than having the will, the resolve to stay in touch and preserve the friendship. For instance, one of my very close friends will always make time to catch up every once in a while, despite having a wife and 2 young children, one that demands considerable time and care. In lieu of this, our discussions are always engaging. We talk about career, science, very deep topics, sometimes staying in the pub or restaurant for 3 hours or more before calling it quits. I respect this immensely, purely because I know that the success rate, the likelihood of maintaining relationships and friendships, is very small. This I know from bitter experience, as I've just been discussing, and I recognise the effort it takes on his part to do it. I know that he sees me as a true friend because he invests that time and effort, even when he's absolutely obliterated and wants to get some much needed rest. So, my overall message in this video is, be careful with the people around you and screen your friends carefully, otherwise they will drain you like a gaggle of parasites. Choose people that will add value, that will contribute to your life and make it as full and rewarding as possible. If they do, then reciprocate in kind. Life is just too short to fill it with negative, selfish people. By following this advice, hopefully you'll be able to reach for the stars as well. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to hear about your own experiences down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, take care.